Hey there, G3 here. Today we're going to be having a discussion talking about Warhammer 40,000 8th edition, rumored to come out sometime this year, and our collective hopes, ideas, what we want to see from it, what we don't want to see from it, that type of stuff. Now, Games Workshop has a problem, and that problem is we have to make money because we're a company and we're publicly traded and all. So, to illustrate this problem, I'm going to use some props because what's a video without items of interest? So, here we have a new player. This player is just starting out, barely just glued together, doesn't even have a slap of paint on him, not even primed. He is just, just with a strength 3 weapon and a close combat thing and T3, that's a new person. So Games Workshop wants to get them into the hobby. But Games Workshop, especially in Warhammer 40k, also has the veterans. This is my Corn Lord on Juggernaut, but he's actually writing a unicorn of corn. One of my favorite conversions. Anyway, the problem the Games Workshop has is that there's a big gap between these two that's filled with this. Yeah, it's filled with all the old formations, all the detachments, all the clunky rules, all the money you have to spend, the big armies the veteran players have amassed. It is a lot, right? So we have these two groups, and on the one hand, we want to make it easier to get into, easier to starting price, lower price point, and then on the other hand, we have a bunch of people who've gotten used to a lot of the rules, good and bad, and also want the game to be complex and still retain its strategic elements, in terms of strategic in both list building and in the practice of playing the game. And so there's a lot of talk about, they don't want it to be Age of Sigmar-fied. So for that, I have another prop. I don't think it's going to be Age of Sigmar-fied. I think it's going to be General's Handbook-ified. And that may not sound too different to people, but what I mean is that if you're not familiar, Age of Sigmar, there was a lot of backlash when it originally came out, because there were no points, and people wanted a way to play that they felt was matched, and they also didn't just like the you-figure-it-out kind of way the Games Workshop handled it, so it was like, for these dudes, it was pretty cool, and that's kind of where I am, because it was just like, oh, cool, you can just buy whatever models look cool, and then the rules are free PDF online, and then you can start playing, like, that's awesome. Whereas these people were like, well, where's the meat of it? Where's the strategy involved? Like, all that. General's Handbook kind of bridged this gap for them, and it offered 3 different ways to play, which are open play, which is how games of Age of Sigmar were released originally, narrative play, which is kind of like story element stuff, kind of like what the Fall Acadia book is doing right now in 40k, and then match play, which added the points. Now, I hope and I think this is the direction they're going to take 40k. Not simplifying it, but adding more ways to play. So if you wanted to have that super tournament-style match play, you had that, but also have an open play style for people just getting into the hobby. The other example, and my last prop here, check all this down, is going to be a deck of Magic the Gathering cards. Now you're like, G3, what does this have to do with it? Like, I don't even play Magic, I play Warhammer, obviously, because these are cards, and this is, Warhammer has models, which are cooler. Duh, that's basic science. Anyway, I'm going to get like a lot of heat from Magic players, but if anyone watches this. But Magic, which is produced by Wizards of the Coast, has done an interesting thing because it's only cardboard, not plastic models, they release new sets far more often, and have been going on, I don't know if they've been longer or shorter than Games Workshop. I think they've been making Magic for a shorter period of time, but even still, there's tons and tons of sets. So instead of editions, where we're going to 8th edition, they just have new cards, new sets, new mechanics introduced to the game. So there's a really big balance issue, but how they bridge that gap is with a little something called Modern and Standard. Now, there are other formats to play Magic in, but those are the 2 main ones as far as I understand and around me and whatever. So when you talk, and they pick like the worst, this is a random point, but they pick like the worst freaking names for it, like Modern and Standard. Both just sound like completely like blah words that they're not descriptive in any way. But what they did was in Modern, almost all the sets, going back a really long time, are playable. And so a lot of cards that they made before they had an eye on, well, in the future, is this going to be game-breaking when attached to a mechanic we're thinking about adding later on. When they made those type of cards, they allowed for a lot of combos that can break the game, essentially. But in Modern, everyone's on that level playing field because they're all using from that pool of cards, meaning that Modern games tend to be a lot shorter, it's a lot more expensive, and it's all about finding these kind of crazy combos that go off, and some people like it because it's very technical when it comes to the deck building, and you need to know a lot of the meta to compete in it. But they also have something called Standard, which a lot of people like as well, and that is only like the past 4 sets. So they keep everything, and it shifts as they go along, right? So it keeps everything nice and even, and the new players who come in, who've only been around for this particular set, still feel like they can compete in Standard because they know those cards, whereas they might not have had any experience with the thousands of cards going back in Magic's history. So I think it's a good way to go about it, and for the most part, they keep it fairly balanced, and then there's a lot of narrative, too, in Magic the Gathering. So the model that I'd like Warhammer to follow is one similar to that kind of mixes Age of Sigmar's General's Handbook with the Standard and Modern styles from Magic the Gathering. So like all these detachments and everything, right? Imagine there's, instead of like the open play versus match play that Age of Sigmar has, imagine like a kind of like modern play, right, to use Magic's terminology, in Warhammer 40k, where all the detachments they've come out with are playable, all of these formations are playable, you can do all your kind of net listing and list shenanigans, and so you don't have, you don't have a single model in your army that's, not overpowered as hell. You can tell my opinions on the matter, but then having another play that's like standard, just what they've come out with recently. And what I could see with 8th edition is that, when they create new units and new books going in from now, they can do it like Age of Sigmar, where they give you the information you need to play for free in PDF form, right? But then if you want more formations, if you want artifacts, relics, things to add to your army, you can buy the book and get those, which I know is like kind of like pay to win, and that's going to be a problem no matter what in Warhammer, because there are going to be units that are better, and there are going to be units that are worse, so it's just a matter of buying the better ones, and, Games Workshop's going to charge a bunch of money for the better ones and all that. So, I don't know. Obviously not a perfect idea, but I just think I would like to, instead of having it, you have to sit down with your opponent and be like, okay, what kind of game do you want to play? Like, are you more competitive, or are you more like narrative, or what's going on? You have to have that discussion, and then it ends up where games of Warhammer 40k are often either very fun because your opponent's cool, or not fun at all because your opponent's not cool, and it doesn't come down to really what happens in the game too much, except what you expected going into the game, how you designed your list, all that. So I'd like some formal names for that, kind of like you have in Age of Sigmar, where you can be like, hey, let's just play a casual open play game, or, okay, well, let's do a match play, let's do 1,000 points of this, 2,000 points of this. So if that was in 40k, I really would like it. And like maybe in the standard type version, you have CAD only, like combined arms detachments, and just simple things so that people who are getting started aren't just immediately demolished, or don't have to explain to their opponent, I'm new, these are all the models I own, and then the opponent has to tailor their list and not just totally destroy everything. Because the power creep, something that is very talked about in Magic, is kind of a big problem in Warhammer 40k. Because we just keep getting bigger and bigger. We keep getting bigger and bigger models, bigger Imperial Knights, and then sooner or later, it just gets kind of crazy. So, I just like to see that. I'd like to see some division. It's not the Age of Sigmarifying of Warhammer 40k. I'd just like to see the different styles of play. Because there was an uproar, right, when Age of Sigmar came out. But the General's Handbook has done wonders in repairing the community and stuff, and bringing a ton of people back to it, because it says, oh, what do you want to play? Okay, here's the rules for each type of player. And I really like that. And like I said, you can do that in Warhammer 40k, but it just involves a lot of discussing with your opponents, finding an opponent you like, and then you play with them, right? I think it would be cool if, there were just terms to define it and some set rules, so we could all say, oh, do you play 40k? Okay, cool, you want to play a blank type game. And there would just be a name for it, and there'd be sections in, like, a book. I don't know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have other predictions of your own? Do you have things you want to see, don't want to see? Leave it down in the comments. I'd love to discuss. Obviously, I'm kind of a noob to the hobby and could very easily be completely wrong. And there are a lot of people who've been playing 40k for years and years and years and years. And so I would weight their opinions a little bit more in terms of what the game's about and how to make it better. But that's the nature of all tabletop war games, and it's all a growing experience. And, when it all gets down to it, you can get your friends together and say, hey, do you want to make up a rule that this and this, and just kind of mod it yourself. But anyway, so let me know. Let me know if you like my items of interest here, and I'll see you in the next video.